Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you may be watching this at tonight. Welcome to the 2025 ACC season predictions. And we told you we weren't just stopping at the Big 12. We're going to run through all the conferences, give you our prediction, give you our champions to get you geared up and ready for the 2025 college football season like we know how. The only way we know how, and that is to bring you the best darn content we could possibly bring you. But I can't do this by myself. I'm not Superman. I need my Batman. And my Batman over here, as he's holding up his coffee
Well,
in
it's
an
actually called water.
water. Well, it's in a coffee mug or in a Starbucks. Anywho, whatever Jackson's drinking to keep him hydrated and awake, he's what makes this happen. So, but Jackson, how are you? And are you ready to talk some ACC football? Good buddy.
I'm sad. I'm all sad. Let's roll.
Let's roll with it. Well, it's kind of interesting. But first, before we do that, want to give a condolences and prayers out for Hulk Hogan's family, legendary pro wrestler, a pop culture icon, maybe one of the greatest in the world, no matter what genre you look at it at. And you look at two people on the opposite side of the spectrum. You look at me who loves wrestling, as you can see here in my office, and you look at someone like Jackson, two different sides of life of spectrum. But Jackson, he even knows who Hulk Hogan is, and he's not a wrestling guy. That just shows you the impact and pop cultural icon that he is. But our prayers are with him, and we wish his family nothing but health and peace. Jackson, do you have anything you would like to say on this topic, real quick?
I don't really have that much comments on Hulk Hogan, but I will say he was a cultural phenomenon when he was around.
And that is true. And Troy V and Clint Moses already joining us in the chat. Clint Moses says Notre Dame and SMU win the ACC. Well, Clint, you're half right. Notre Dame can't win the ACC because they're not in the conference. But we appreciate the feedback. And Troy says if Jackson's Batman is Austin Alford, I'm Jackson's Robin. I'm his Robin. Jeffrey could be Alfred, or he could be the Penguin, whichever. I'm the
Nah,
Robin.
I
Jackson.
don't, I don't, I don't think Jeffrey would beat Alfred but I think like Austin. I don't think he looks like an Alfred, but we'll wait and see. Anything can happen.
Exactly,
Then
exactly.
again, then again, Alfred can kick ass and take names, so I wouldn't underestimate him.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, just wanted to give our condolences to that. It's a very sad, tragic event that happened. But we wish his family nothing but peace and blessing, and hope that they can find happiness again. Truly a big loss across the board. And Clint Moses says, I'm cat. Well, no, not this again. Anywho, before we go down another rabbit hole that we don't need to go down, let's talk something we all love, and that's ACC football. Well, at least I love it. I don't know about Jackson, but I love ACC football. And whoops, malfunction at the junction here. There we go. Spoiler alert for Jackson. But our 2025-2026 ACC predictions, and starting off with my list, I've got SMU finishing first in the conference at 10-2 and 6-2 on the year. I've got Clemson at number 2 at 9-3 and 6-2. North Carolina poised to have a big year under year one under Bill Belichick, coming in at number 3, 3 at 9-3 and 6-2. Miami going 7-5, 5-3 in conference, finishing fourth. Georgia Tech I have finishing fifth at 7-5 and 5-3. I've got Louisville, my own team, as you can see, I'm repping tonight. Finishing sixth in the conference, winning all their non-cons, but going a 500 in conference play. play. And number 7, I have Syracuse at 7-5, and I will correct that error. I just realized it. So ignore that, flip them. I have Syracuse at 6 due to their conference record, and Louisville at 7. 7. I will fix that in just a second. Then I have Duke at 8 at 7-5 and 500 in conference play. And then I have Boston College going 6-6, 500 in conference play as well. I've got Florida State at number 10 bouncing back and going bowling once again after their atrocious 2024. And then at number 11, I have NC State. Number 12, Virginia Tech. Number 13, Pitt. And number 14, Virginia. Number 15, Stanford. Number 16, Cal. And then obviously, very dead last, Wake Forest. And then as an honorary ACC member, I've got Notre Dame going 10-2 on the year. And in my title game, I have Clemson over SMU in back-to-back seasons, and Clemson wins the rematch from the regular season. So Jackson, here's Jackson's list. At number 1, he has Clemson. At 2, he has Georgia Tech. Number 3, he has Miami. Number 4, he has SMU. Number 5, he has Florida State. Having a big year according to Jack. Number 6, got my boys at the Ville. Number 7, he's got Syracuse. Number 8, North Carolina and Bill Belichick. Number 9, Pitt. Number 10, Duke. Number 11, Virginia Tech. Number 12, NC State. Number 13, Boston College. At 14, he's got Cal at 5-7. At 15, he's got Virginia at 3-9, having a rough year. Jackson's not very high on Virginia, which I'm curious to hear why in a second. Number 16, he's got Wake Forest. And then finishing dead last is Stanford. Portree. And then as we mentioned, our honorary ACC member, Jackson's got Notre Dame going 11-1. And then in his title game, he's got Clemson over Georgia Tech in a regular season rematch, with Clemson once again getting revenge. So, Jackson, since I ran this down, okay, obviously there's some interesting choices here. But the first thing I think a lot of people are going to want to know is, are you on the Georgia Tech hype train? Well, talk us through it.
I like where things are going with the Yellow Jackets. I mean, it's gonna be amazing to see where they go. I mean, I've been on their hype train since things were on the right path from 2023, and what I saw from 2024. I mean, with what Brent Key's got going for him, it makes me feel pretty good to see where things are going for him. Now, unfortunately, I do have them losing a tight one to Georgia. What's up, Hummus Hero? But I do think Syracuse ends their unbeaten season. That's what I think. I've got Georgia Tech upsetting Clemson in the regular season, but as you see, I've got Clemson winning in the rematch for the 2025 ACC title game. But I mean, as you can see in Georgia Tech's schedule, I mean, it's pretty easy peasy. It's just slim pickings. I mean, Wake Forest, that's a cinch. Virginia Tech, this is not Beamer era with Virginia Tech. I mean, it's Virginia Tech's mid at this point. Duke, that's not that they. I don't know what to say about Duke. I mean, they're a bowl team, but they had a 9-win season, of course, last year, but they didn't look like it because like they were in a tight one with North Carolina. Because North Carolina blew it. They won a tight one against UConn. They beat Northwestern double overtime. Beating Florida State last year wasn't really anything to brag about. SMU, that was a lucky win for SMU. But, they beat Virginia Tech and Wake Forest in close wins, but they got smacked off the face of the earth by Ole Miss. I don't really feel like Duke is going to be having a real good year, but like Georgia Tech, they're obviously going to have a good year. And we know it too. Miami, I feel like it's going to be the same story all over again. They're going to have a great start conference play. I mean, they're going to lose their 2 big non-con games, in my opinion. And if they do wind up winning it, I'm still just going to be asking, is Miami going to blow it? Are they going to blow their shot at going to the ACC title game? Well, until further notice, yes, I think they do. Virginia Tech upsets Miami, and I've got Pittsburgh upsetting Miami because that's where dreams go to die. And those are the games I've pretty much pinpointed as Miami blowing against. Now, North Carolina's schedule, you're not going to hear a lot about North Carolina's schedule, right? All you're going to hear about is Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick, as well as you should. But it's just slim pickings. I mean, the Clemson Tigers, they're going to smack North Carolina off the face of the earth, I feel like. Cal's not really anything to brag about. Virginia's not anything to brag about. I've got Syracuse beating North Carolina. But North Carolina State, I keep thinking about them because North Carolina has not beat North Carolina State since 2020. Can they end that losing streak, North Carolina State, this year? If they're not doing it this year, well, you're going to hear some squawking going into 2026. Now, I've got SMU number 4. Now, why do I have them below an 8-4 Miami team? Simple. Because they lose to Miami, in my opinion. And that's what knocks out SMU and go back to the ACC title game. But on the contrary, Rhett Lashley has them at another 10-win season. And there's another problem SMU's going to think about. Are they going to keep Rhett Lashley from going to Arkansas? Are they going to keep him from going to an SEC type school? That's going to be the question. Especially if on the off chance Oklahoma opens up. That's something they're going to think about. And we got Pitt, who can make a lot of trouble for anybody in the ACC. And we've got Louisville, which I believe they can have a 9-3 season. But are they going to ACC title game? Not quite. I just don't see them getting Clemson again. It's just not happening in my book. I'm just not seeing it. Where did I have them? Okay, so I've got their unbeaten season going down against Miami. I've got them going down to SMU. That's another one right there. But I think everybody else will be all right. And I think Louisville could get a win in their bowl game. Syracuse, they're going to have a 7-win season, but they are one of those teams that looks more like a 9-win team, despite the fact that they've got 7 wins. And you're going to see that with Fran Brown, with the magic he's creating over there. Virginia Tech having a 6-win season, that means Brent Pry's in the hot seat entering 2026. Dave Doreen, I don't know where he stands for North Carolina State. Is he getting fired? Is he getting vote of confidence? We'll wait and see. Cal, I don't even think cares that much about football at all, obviously. Boston College, Bill O'Brien. I mean, it's just a bad year for Bill O'Brien. But Virginia, Wake Forest, Stanford, I don't see a lot of luck for them. Although I like Stanford having a better year than where I have them. So that is where I've got the ACC for me. And chat, tell me what you think. Tell Austin what you think. Austin, what you thinking, good buddy? And he is not here. He'll be right back after these messages. He is dealing some weather in Kentucky. It is doing the mess around with him. But yeah, like chat, how are you feeling about this? How you feel about these predictions from me? Are they accurate? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they ugly? What do you think? But the ACC, whoever wins it is obviously in the playoffs. You get that top 4 seed, this, that, and the other. But if you're the runner up, does that mean you're automatically in this year? That's going to be the question for the Yellow Jackets. Okay, that's funny, but Austin had to get the sunglasses. Yeah, I mean, I think Georgia Tech's going to get things rolling against Colorado, which, oh, by the way, great news on Deion Sanders, where he is cured of bladder cancer. So thank goodness for that. You know, I'm feeling like that they are. That's just me. I don't, like Wake Forest. I'm amazed how they got Jake Dickard from Washington State. But the thing I'm more amazed about with Wake Forest, they got Robbie Ezell as their offensive coordinator. Now, I hope Ezell does well at Wake Forest. Because if he does, that means he can go back to the SEC. And if Alabama needs an offensive coordinator, we could get Robbie Ezell. So there you go. Cal is Cal. Virginia, I don't really know what to say about them. They're not going bowling, I don't think. Now, Frank Wright, I think, can have Stanford better than where I have them. He's going to get those boys motivated. They're going to be really happy to play for him. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the funny part is Virginia scares Indiana. Yeah, because like you cancel a home and home with Indiana. Like, really? That's a bad look. That's a bad look if you're Indiana. Now, I mean, if it was like 15 years ago, that's one thing. But you're a team that got into the playoffs. You got into the playoffs and you're afraid you're going to get beat by Virginia? Like, really? Come on. I don't think Here's Your Nation's going to like what I'm saying, but that's just the truth. Like, you don't cancel a home and home with Virginia and not expect backlash. That just doesn't happen. Like, no, you don't do that. You don't cancel a home and home with Virginia and not expect there to be backlash. It's not like you're Kennesaw State. You're Indiana, and you're the talk of the town in the world of college football now. You're the talk of the town in the world of college football. You're still the talk of the town in college basketball, but nowhere near as much. Oh, agreed. That's a terrible look, V. Agreed. I could not agree more. It is just a disgrace and a disaster for Indiana by doing that. But I will say it does get people talking. I still get amazed by Dickard leaving Washington State for Wake Forest. I mean, if it was like Washington State for North Carolina, okay. Washington State for Wake Forest, okay. Dave's here says they are Indiana, but they got 9 scheduled. If Virginia was their 9th game, it would mean more. Uh, it's still a bad look canceling your home and home with Virginia. What's up, Trojan Fight? How you doing tonight, good buddy? Esso says Virginia. That's funny. That's funny, man. Boston College, they're not go back to the Matt Ryan era or the Doug Fleet era. That's long gone, baby. That is gone with the wind. North Carolina State, I don't know how long they're going to keep Dave Doreen. I don't know, because I mean, it's like they've put up with him longer than they did the previous coach, Tom O'Brien. Clint Most says Wazoo lost Tony Bennett to Virginia too. Yeah, that's true. But at least they weren't like losing their head coach to Wake Forest. Like, good grief. It's like Wake Forest is like that forgotten child of North Carolina. You know, like Duke and North Carolina, and to a certain extent, North Carolina State are like the favorites of the parents, but Wake Forest is basically like the forgotten child of North Carolina. Hell, East Carolina is talked about more than Wake Forest. App State's talked about way more than Wake Forest. It's just I cannot quite put my finger on it with Wake Forest, but they are like that forgotten child of the Power Four. And I think the only time people are gonna like not forget about them is when we see more expansion. That's where you're gonna see people suddenly think about Wake Forest. Double J hasn't slept in years. Oh, no worries. I sleep. I sleep nights. No worries. I'm all good. We appreciate y'all tuning in to this live stream from Jackson Johnson and Sports Talk with Austin. So we get things rocking and rolling. All for you, ladies and gentlemen. That I've never heard that analogy. Wake Forest being the weird rich kid. Dave's here says, I hate Indiana, but they do have a very similar 3 games non-con as most SEC teams. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. I will definitely give you that. Oh, we got Holy Moly saying, how dare you, SO, giving out a hey Jackson. What's up, Holy Moly? How you doing tonight, man? Wake Forest, perfect fit for bid 13. Oh, man. Oh, man. So I'll talk a little bit about where I've got Notre Dame. Now, I had them at 11-1, but this prediction of the 1 loss is going to shock all of you. This is just a preseason prediction. Relax. I may change my mind by the time we get to game week, but I've got Notre Dame losing in a shocking upset loss to Arkansas. I don't know why, but I feel like Sam Pittman and Arkansas are going to get rolling for Notre Dame in week 5. It just screams upset loss for Notre Dame. Because, in my opinion, we've looked at where Notre Dame is with Marcus Freeman. They lost, like so far, they've lost that 1 game they shouldn't. 2022, they lost to Marshall, they lost Stanford. Last season, they lost to Northern Illinois. It was basically a reality check, so to speak. And to tell you the truth, I kind of flipped between Boise State and Arkansas. Where do I have Notre Dame losing to? I mean, they're going to lose at home to Boise, or are they going to lose on the road to Arkansas? Well, I've got Arkansas upsetting Notre Dame. That's just my take on that one. But where do I have Arkansas in the rest of the 2025 season? That is where you'll have to tune into the SEC predictions from Austin and myself for that one. Now, I have not talked about Florida State tonight, have I? No, I have not. So I've got Florida beating them, obviously. But what about the rest of the ACC? So I've got Clemson and Miami beating Florida State for 2025. So that's where I've got things going. I mean, nobody's really talking about Florida State, Miami as much as they were in like 2000 and 2002. Steve has Florida State as his sleeper. Well, I hope they don't sleep on 2025 like they did in 2024. Because it's like they forgot how to play football last season. I mean, so we'll definitely wait and see what happens for the Florida State Seminoles. But all I do know is if they miss a ball game again, or they go like sits and sits, there's going to be a long, serious talk about Mike Norvell. There's going to be some serious talks. I mean, 10-10. I mean, that was just like one bad year, but still, though, you bragged about beating Cal. Like, you celebrate that win. I've wasted enough words on that one. But we're just going to wait and see on Florida State. I hope things turn around for them. I know like Phil still has them as one of his most improved teams in all of college football for 2025. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a look right quick to where the ACC teams are for most turnaround teams for Phil Still. Because I think I saw them somewhere. Now, he's got SMU as his 10th surprise team for this year. And in his second tier surprise, got Florida State and Georgia Tech. So that's pretty much it to the ACC. But who are his most improved teams? Well, there we go. Florida State. He's got them as his most improved team. And you saw him with Rodgers today talking about Oklahoma. He's got them as his third most improved team for 2025. And he's got them as his number one surprise team for Oklahoma. Now, there will be another episode where he goes on with Mark before the 2025 season starts, where he'll talk a little more about the rest of college football, which I'm sure he'll talk a little bit about the Big 12 because he's got Utah as his second most improved team for 2025. And he's got them as his fourth most surprise team for 25. So I'm suspecting he's kind of having them like TCU from 2014. And the real MVP says, hit the like button, please. Appreciate the support, DeReal, and you heard the man himself. Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell to each of the channels so you never miss another video or another live stream whatsoever. Chat, how are you feeling about Georgia Tech? How's everybody feel about Georgia Tech, Clemson, Miami, SMU, and Florida State? How's everybody feeling? That's a question we want to know from all of you. Oh, you really like Duke, don't you, SO? SO, how you feeling about North Carolina State? That's my question to you. They say that every year. The U is back every year. Oh my God. That's like saying the 90s are back. The 80s are back. Everybody wants their golden era to come back. And you know you're going to hear the 2000s are back. Like at some point in your lifetimes, you're gonna hear the 2000s were the greatest. I mean, oh my god, like every decade's like the greatest decade ever. I mean, it's like you hear that all the time. And like people, in this country, obviously they've got like this huge nostalgia for the 80s, right? Guess who was running the show in the 80s? The Miami Hurricanes. And who do people have a lot of nostalgia for? Miami. That's why a lot of people want to see Miami win so bad. But it's like they're not going to be winning as long as their stadium situation is a cluster. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. And the fact that they keep losing games that they shouldn't. And you watch and see, the month of November is going to come arising. All they got to do is win one game to clinch a spot in the ACC title. Same thing's going to happen. They're going to blow it. They're going to blow. They could be 10-0. They could be 9-1, and they'll blow it. They will blow their shot. And then you're really going to see the noise crank up on Mario Cristobal. Oh, agreed. But things were bad even before they left the Orange Bowl. I mean, bros got smacked off the face of the earth against Virginia in 2007. Virginia of all places. Yeah, you need Jesus right there. I mean, I know it was like the first year of the Randy Shannon era, but Jesus, you got shut out by Virginia in your final game at the Orange Bowl. That's not good. That is bad. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm. And SO says Georgia Tech could be sneak good. UNC and North Carolina State both struggle to get to 500. I mean, those are solid predictions. The thing with Georgia Tech, I'm not buying it because yes, their schedule does line up favorable for them. I understand that, but the thing with Georgia Tech is they're that team that has snuck up on people. And I just think teams are going to start taking them more seriously now. Georgia Tech's no longer going to be the surprise sneak up. Oh my gosh, Georgia Tech beat Clemson or Georgia Tech beat Miami kind of team. Or they beat North Carolina the year they had Drake May and Sam Howell. And I just don't think they're going to be that team. Listen, I think Georgia Tech is a good football team. I like what they have. Haynes King, he's a gutsy SOB who could take a hit and get right back up. But the thing about it is Jackson's a little higher on him than I am. Obviously, Jackson's got him going to the championship game. I've got them going 7-5. I'm not quite buying it yet. There's too many good teams in the ACC for me to just say, Georgia Tech, you're a legit threat after all these years. Like, I think we're going to see another year or two of Brinton Key kind of just floating along. They're going to have some impressive wins in there. I don't doubt it whatsoever. But I just don't think they're the team people are saying they are going to be, in my opinion. Now, you were talking about Miami, Jackson. I think they take a major step back at 7-5 this year. And I think the hype on Miami last year was well deserved. But with adding Carson Beck, who was forced to the ball a lot, and his defense was able to bail him out at Georgia, I don't think that's going to be the case at Miami. I think he's in for a rude awakening. And I think Miami, although I do have them upsetting Notre Dame, I do have that happening. But I do think they beat Notre Dame at home. And that'll be a good marquee win, but I think it'll be more off the back. And Steve says, couldn't disagree more about the Canes. Here's the thing, Steven. I'm a little lower on them. Jackson's got them going 8-4. So Jackson and me are not that far off from one another. Jackson, what's the only game that we flipped on? Is it Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Who'd you have them beating that I didn't?
Let's see. So I've got Miami losing to Notre Dame in Florida. I've got them losing to Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh.
I'm same as well. I've got them losing to Notre Dame in Florida. Yeah, Notre Dame in Florida. Yeah. So you've got them beating one more ACC team than I do. Which here's the thing. Looking at it, Jackson, like, is 7-5? Let me ask you, Jackson. If I was to tell you right now that, which I am basically with my prediction, that Miami's going to be 7-5, are you shocked by that? Are you shocked that I picked them to go 7-5?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, nothing surprises me from Miami at this point. But honestly, I think if Miami goes 7-5, you're going to be seeing people kick Mario Cristobal's door down,
Mm-hmm.
demanding answers.
Mm-hmm. And Steven asks, Beck versus Carr, who are you going with? Honestly, Steven, it's very hard because we haven't seen CJ Carr yet, but what tape we have seen on Carson Beck, he's got a whole lot more bad than he does good, in my opinion. He is very, very turnover prone. I mean, he had a great game against Tennessee. I'm not going to take it away from him, but my goodness, last year for me ruined Carson Beck. He threw 4 turnovers against Bama, and they still almost managed to win that game. And I got to give him credit. He cleaned it up. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to take this out of context. Carson Beck is a very good quarterback, but he's very turnover prone. We have to understand that. And I think that's why the Canes take a big step back. There's a drastic difference here. Cam Bourne is up here, and then you got Beck like right here. And I think even though in Miami's secondary, that was a big concern last year. And you saw how porous their defense was. Jackson even called it out all last year. Jackson will be the first one to tell you that Miami's defense was porous. They were a dog heap. Is that not what you told me all last year, Jackson?
Oh, yeah.
And Trojan Fight says, I think Miami lost a lot at wide receiver and didn't do a whole
Yeah,
lot to replace.
Bama took Mr. Horton because Horton heard the
Yes.
Tide calling.
Yeah, and Estrepo, he went to the draft. I believe he was undrafted but got signed to a team. And Clipmo said Crystal never makes in-game adjustments. Agreed. I mean, and Darrell says Clemson, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and Miami have the best QB head coach combos in the ACC. I wouldn't disagree with that. I would say you could throw SMU in there as well. What say you, Jackson? Do you agree with Darrell on that?
I mean, if Miami's got a great head coach and quarterback combo, then it's probably not that good. It's probably not good for the ACC. I mean, it's like no.
And Dave here said, "What's up? What with the winning the SEC and all, you know." And Steven says the ACC is a step down from the SEC. Beck will flourish in that conference. I'm not saying he won't, Steven, but you have to understand the ACC's defense. There are some comparable defenses in the ACC, and I know I'm sounding very homerish right now, but you look at statistically, Clemson had one of the best defenses last year. SMU, for the most part, had one of the top 25 defenses, I believe, as well. North Carolina this year, I expect them to take a major step in defense. Because whether I'm sorry, Jack, I'm sorry. Double J coming from the top row. I'm like, oh Lord. Yeah, Jackson's very hostile tonight. I mean, See, you have to cut Jackson a little slack. 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 Him and Miami have a love-hate relationship. They're like that ex-girlfriend, you know. Jackson still has feelings for him, but he has to beat up on him every now and then. Ain't that right, Jack? I kid.
Well, I think I would have picked a little something nicer than beating them up, but that's just me now. But anyway, so looking back on who was it that had that comment? There it is. Esso that said that North Carolina State, he thinks they both struggle to get to 500. I don't see North Carolina struggling to 500, but I think like North Carolina State clinches bowl eligibility by beating North Carolina in rivalry week. Honestly,
So I've got Carolina at 9-3, and Jackson's got Carolina at 9-3 as well. Now, as far as conference play goes, I'm a little high on Carolina, and this may shock some people, and I know I'm about ready to get roasted for saying this, and it's going to bug people. I have North Carolina beating Clemson. I know everyone's going to say, Austin, you're nuts. You're absolutely out your mind. Like, get off this platform. But I think North Carolina stuns Clemson this year. I think it's going to happen. It's going to be a vintage Bill Belichick moment. It's one of Clemson's 3 losses. I have them losing to LSU, SMU, and North Carolina. And Trojan Fight says, what are Clemson's 3 losses here? LSU, SMU, North Carolina. For me. He says, Austin, you're nuts. I kind of figured that was coming. That's fine. That's fine. Yep, bring it on. Yep. And Dave here says, I got Clemson at 11-1 this. Jackson actually has Clemson at 11-1 as well. So y'all in agreement. I'm a little more down on Clemson. I think, and Trojan Fight says, I think LSU loses to him. I like LSU this year. I think LSU could win the SEC. Spoiler alert. But we'll get to that later on. I'm not going to get Jackson started right now. Like, Jackson's smiling. He knows what I'm talking about. See, Jackson, this is what he loves about me, is I know how to get him started on LSU. But we'll save that for Prediction Friday. But Darrell's in agreement with me. He's thinking Clemson as well on that. Now, let me ask you, Jackson, are you thinking I'm being a little too harsh on Clemson?
It's your predictions, man.
Holy moly says UNC beating Clemson sounds good to me. Okay, maybe I'm not as nuts as people would think I am. Okay. Jordan is back at Chapel Hill. Wrong Jordan, though. Oh, no, not this again. Oh, no. I didn't mean... yeah, well, you know, if North Carolina wins the ACC, Jackson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan, she's going to be up front and center, being like, I did it all. Give me my tiara. Anywho.
Well, I like Michael Jordan way more than that Jordan. That's just me now.
And Trojan Fight says, I give LSU the edge at home, but not at Clemson. I flipped on that game. I really did. Like, I know a lot of people, talk about that. If it was anybody else, and Holy Moly says, for disclosure, I'm a Tar Heel for life. Okay, well, that makes sense then. Okay, that's why you can get behind that prediction. I would say the same thing if you predicted Louisville to beat them, which I have Louisville losing to Clemson this year. But to this point, no, wrong one. Trojan Fight says, I give LSU the edge at home, but not at Clemson. To that point, I think it's going to be a tough game. But I do really think, though, I think LSU is one of the very few teams that can handle going to Clemson and winning that game. They're one of the very few right now. I can count on one hand how many teams I would trust to go at Clemson and win. It'd be LSU, Bama, Louisville. Let's see, Bama, LSU, Louisville, Ohio State, and then probably Michigan, Penn State, or Oregon. Any combination of those three would be my thing. And Troy V says, I need to see how Belichick does in the college game. I really think he will feel, but I guess we'll wait and see. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a circus in NC win or lose, yes. And is Belichick the oldest head coach? I believe so, Jackson.
Oldest active head coach in college football?
Yes.
Well, I mean, he is a little bit older than Matt Brown. Yep, Bill Belichick. It's like, yeah, we're going to fire Matt Brown, but we're replacing somebody the same age. Like, really? Yeah, that's real smart, North Carolina. Yeah, great future investments.
Oh, my gosh. But looking at these predictions, though, and talk about Notre Dame for a second here. I had them losing 2 games this year, and one of them may shock you, but I think Boise State might surprise a lot of people this year. I think Boise could upset Notre Dame. And I know that might be another bold take on my part, but if Jackson told you he's got Notre Dame losing to Arkansas. I hope I didn't spoil that, Jack. Did you tell him that yet?
I did. I told them that.
Okay, good. So me and Jackson, and I'm sure Jackson gave you the reasoning, and I'm going to steal it. But Notre Dame always loses that one game that you never suspect they will. And people may say, well, it's at home. How can you say that? Well, Northern Illinois was at home too, guys. So I'm not counting that possibility out. Notre Dame is not invincible. And I know Darrell is looking at me like, listen, Darrell, Spencer Danielson, I like him. I think he's a really great head coach for what he's done at Boise. And I do think, and I know everyone's laughing about Boise. I know. Feel free to let me have it on that one. But I believe in Boise. I think they can get it done. I really do. I think even though without Genty, I think they're going to take a step down. But I do think, yes, and Dave here says nearly everyone loses a game they should win. Exactly. Like Louisville, we lost to Stanford for crying out loud. Alabama lost to Oklahoma. I mean, and Darrell says Boise is too good. Notre Dame will be prepared for them. That is true, Darrell. That is true. This is just what I'm gut feeling right now. I could change my mind by the time we get to our predictions. This is what I'm feeling in the moment as I make these predictions right now. That's one of my 2 losses, but are we really going to do this, Darrell? Really? What was that, Austin? Who did Louisville? We lost to Stanford, Darrell, after we beat Clemson. Are you happy? Anywho, that's one of my 2 losses. I could see them, honestly, losing. Like I said, I had Miami losing right now to Notre Dame, but it's at Miami. It's opening night. That could be a loss for Notre Dame. I could see a loss to A&M. I could see a loss to a BC or NC State. I'm not saying it is not based off my predictions. I'm going to hold true to it. But it can happen. I'm glad you're happy, Darrell. Your happiness is everything. Anywho, it's okay. Louisville's QB from USC is a warrior, yes. And here's the thing. I've been praising him all offseason, if you guys have been listening. I really do think that Louisville, with Miller Moss and what Jeff Brom is able to do with quarterbacks, Louisville's offense has a legit chance, like under Jeff Brom, to be even better than it was last year. in my opinion. And Steven says Boise State is the Gonzaga of college football. What do you think about that, Jack?
It's accurate.
I say so too. But
Because, I mean, they are the group of 5 team that everybody talks about, whether if it's good or bad. So it's like, there you go.
mm-hmm,
But Boise State, I don't know. I mean, the Pac-12 is not quite Power 4 anymore. 'Cause, I
mm-hmm,
mean, yeah, because like next year Boise State's going to join, but that's another time for another day.
mm-hmm. But
I'm not
Jackson,
keeping y'all up for that.
I do want to say though, Jackson, I'm sure you're talking about it a little bit, but Florida State, you got them going 8-4. You got them making a major step up from what they were last year. What's with the confidence? You know,
Their pitiful schedule.
listen, I got them going 6-6, Jackson. Hold on. Just for reference for our people here, let me pull it up. Let's pull up their schedule. Because Jackson, as pitiful as they were, listen, I understand they're Florida State and they have a rich history. But to go from 2 to 8 wins like that, the way that they looked, Jackson, they were a dung heap.
They were trash.
Exactly. That's why I'm trying to figure out how, and like I said, I am always going to give you the time of day, Jackson, to explain to me because we're such good pals. So I'm going to do this for you because walk me through, good buddy, how you get 8 wins. I'm going to be all ears for this one.
I mean, if it was at
Okay.
Pitt, then let's look at their schedule. Yeah, East Texas
Hold
A&M
on.
can't. Yo, Travis Fulls, how you doing tonight, good buddy?
What's
Good
up,
buddy.
Traveling Fools? Hold on, I'll pull Miami stuff up back in a minute because I want Traveling Fools to see this glory. But real fast, okay. Week 1 against Bama. Right now, Jack, is there upset
Oh,
on the horizon?
they're gonna lose to Bama.
Okay.
Alabama's gonna beat their eyes out.
Okay. East Texas A&M State.
That's a
Assuming you
win
have
for
them winning
Florida.
that game.
That's a win. Kent State, that's a win. Virginia, that's a win for Florida State. Nets game, Miami, that's a big ass loss for the Florida State Seminoles. Pittsburgh, win for Florida State. Stanford, win for Florida State. Wake Forest, win for Florida State. You really think they're going to beat Clemson? No. They're going to beat Virginia Tech. They're going to beat North Carolina State. And they're going to lose to Florida. All their wins are against mid teams and crappy teams. Not a single one of them is going to be a team going to the playoffs. They're not beating a playoff team.
And Esso says Norvell is losing his mind. And Steven says that's a reflection of Norvell. And Daryl says FSU is trash. And Essa also says Louisville's in the mix. Absolutely, we are. But Jackson, I want to push back. At Virginia, don't be so quick just to give them that game. I could see Florida State dropping that one since it's at Virginia. Don't be so quick to give it to them. Yeah, Jackson's on one tonight. He's mad.
Well,
He's
part of
mad
me
at
is a little bit. I've been a little bit tired tonight, so that's why I'm kind of savage.
Jackson's he's like a dog that just chewed up on bumblebees. He's spitting venom out tonight. And Daryl says Thomas Castellano lost his job at Boston College. BC is mid, and Castellanos couldn't keep that job. See, Daryl's coming in spitting facts. I mean, Jackson, like we're trying to follow along with you here. Like, listen.
I love that word mid. It makes me laugh. I love that word.
Oh, Jesus. But what I will say is, though, Jackson, so obviously, week 1, we can already assume is a loss, but Every other game on their schedule, except for maybe Clemson, Florida, and Virginia Tech, maybe, and Miami. Every other game, I think, and obviously they're two cupcakes, are 50-50. At Virginia, right now, that's a coin flip. Pitt at home, that's a coin flip. At Stanford, that's a coin flip right now. Okay, they should beat Wake. Okay. Virginia Tech, I would say that's a coin flip. At NC State, could get interesting. Jackson, I respect your opinion. I value it, but I just don't see 8 wins, good buddy. And
That's
like
okay.
I understand it's our predictions, but I'm trying to see it here.
I just don't see Virginia Tech as like a team that contends for the ACC like they did under Frank Beamer. As long as they got Brent Pry, I feel like they're going down a era where they're just mediocre right now. I hope I'm wrong about them. I hope Coach Pry proves me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not seeing it. I don't see ACC titles come. I don't see playoff berths coming in Blacksburg. Now, do I think they can scare the living hell out of teams that come to their backyard on Thursday night and Friday night? Absolutely, I do. I'd be not to bet on Virginia Tech on a Thursday night or a Friday night, or make sure. By God, I'm making sure I put them on a parlay sheet.
I will say.
Oh, man,
No!
I was laughing at Steve's comment.
Oh no!
Ah.
I'm sorry. I mean, listen.
I think like Bobby Bowden is just kind of like, sleep. He's just in his grave and it's like, who the hell woke me up in my dirt nap?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I really want Florida State to be successful. It's good for the conference. It's good to have the brand, but it's just like it's just it's hard to see it. They're a dung heap. It's a dung heap. I'm sorry, but it's just a dung heap. Like, for Christ's sakes. And listen, Jack, like I said, our predictions are our opinions, but my gosh. Like, we have some bad ones. But I hope for your sake, Florida State does wonders, because this is a. Ugh. Anywho. Let me pull this back up.
Esso's funny, man. Like, I love it. I'm loving the chat, man.
VTech will mess up your parlay every time. I ain't that the truth. Oh no, Daryl's saying LSU going 8-4-8 would be what? Oh,
listen, if that
listen.
happens, I'm gonna be playing the Derp song or that Cash for Gold song from South Park as like a montage song. Like that's gonna happen. Like,
Oh
oh
my
man,
gosh.
kind of like how Urinating Tree has the Derp song for the Giants, and South Park has the Cash for Gold song for the LA Angels and the MLB. You're gonna see me play that Cash for Gold song for Florida State as the montage song. I just taught myself into playing like a montage song for a downfall of Florida State, and I'm using that for Miami too. So,
Oh my gosh. Anywho, so looking at our standings here, me and Jackson are kind of similar in a lot of them. I mean, we both have Clemson. I'm still high on SMU. I like what SMU. The Jackson's going a bit of a, I guess you would call it a surpriser in Georgia Tech. But looking at this, if Clemson Georgia Tech is the title game, like Jackson, how confident are you in that as of tonight? and Clemson and Georgia Tech
Very,
playing
very, very confident.
very confident. Okay. If you were to put a percentage on it, what's your percentage?
95% confident.
Okay, Jackson's big confident. He's feeling it now. Okay.
I'm hooked on a feeling, good buddy.
I mean, I get it, Georgia Tech in the moment, but I would say for me, I'm about 85% sure, 85% confident of my title game prediction. Out of everyone tonight that we kind of talked about, kind of looked at, is there anybody, Jackson, that we might have overlooked that may surprise us?
Well, Syracuse, I think, obviously will have a 7-win season, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not going to look like a 7-win team.
Okay.
North Carolina, I think everybody's going to be talking about their 9-win season, or if they have a 10-win season, everybody's going to talk about it. But what nobody's going to talk about is how god awful their schedule is. They're not going to talk about it because they're going to see it with North Carolina, in my opinion, with Bill Belichick as of now. Everybody sees them as that team with rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm. And Steven says SMU at number 1. Did they?
Hold on, I'll be right back. I got face froze and my hand froze because apparently the thing said talk to the hand. It's like, that's not what I meant.
You're good. You're good. I'll talk to Steven here. SMU at number 1. Did they or re-erect the Pony Express with Eric Dickerson? If you look at SMU's schedule, it's actually not that bad. To be quite frank and be honest with you, it's not that bad. I mean, they play Louisville and they play Clemson, and I believe, and that's an honestly, Darrell. What's funny is, real fast, Darrell. Honestly, thinking about that, I told a lot of people about Duke, and even though I'm not having been 7-5, I almost picked Duke to go 9-3. I really did. I like what Duke has done. I had them beating Illinois, shocking enough. But to your point, though, Steven, yeah, they've got a couple tough games in there. They've got Clemson, they got Louisville. I think they'll split those games. They'll go 1-1. And I think they beat Clemson. And I think they'll lose the Louisville game because it's even though it's, and Esso says the Dukies.
Bookies.
The Bookies. Anywho, glad to see you aren't just going with the consensus pick of Clemson at number 1, Austin. I tried to switch it up. I mean, the thing is, when I do these, I try to think outside the box. I try to see how much different can I be from everyone else. Because if we just went chalk, then this would be no fun, to be honest with you. Me and Jackson would be bored out of our mind. So I try to think outside the box while being reasonable.
Out of the box.
Out of the box, yeah. And so for me, I'm like, what's outside the box, maybe, but still within reason. And SMU being at 1, like, real fast, let's pull up their schedule real quick here. Show everyone the schedule. Show them what I mean. And while we do that, Troy V says, I'm interested in Cal. Just wanted to see how Brown does his QB. They'll probably suck, but I'll be rooting for him. Yeah, Cal does not have hype, Troy. Jackson will even tell you that.
Yeah, there's a guy on Voice College Football saying that 2 years ago on the Voice College Football, it was in August of 2023. It was Mark Rogers doing the September predictions, and the guy that was on with Mark and I was saying something like Cal's got hype, and I just couldn't quit laughing for a minute, honestly, when he was saying that. But I'll have to tell you guys about that one of these days. But let's continue on with SMU and Cal for a sec.
Okay, so let me pull up their schedule because honestly, when you guys look at SMU's schedule, you will see why I have them where I have them. They they can. Here's the thing. They did not get a bad draw. Like in all seriousness, you look at their schedule, they did not get that bad of a draw, in my opinion. See, first game of the year, they're gonna win that, right? They're gonna dog walk them. It's gonna be ugly. Baylor at home, I think they win that game, even though it's on the CW. If it was at Baylor and
Oh,
Waco, I could see a potential.
SMU TCU, man. I'm gonna sob like a baby when that game is over.
I have SMU winning that game. I think that's gonna be. I have them beating Syracuse. See, I have them going to Clemson and winning in Death Valley, and I know that's a crazy take, but I have Clemson losing 2 home games this year because I do think there's potential there. That Clemson's not almighty unbeatable at home like they were once before. 4, and then Louisville at home. I think Louisville we get our revenge in the Pony Express. But as you look at this schedule, you can kind of see it's not that hard. You've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 with Syracuse, maybe 5 with TCU. 5 really games, 3 that are like in down. So, okay, Steven, okay. Syracuse will beat SMU in the Pony Express. Okay, Steven.
Oh,
Look
there
at
we
you
go.
getting a little spicy tonight. All right. What do you think about that, Jack?
Well, I mean, that game's a 50-50 game. I mean, I flipped a coin and went with SMU to tell you the truth. Now we got Dave Brown, the bourbon hunter, in the chat. How you doing tonight, good buddy? Long time no see. Glad to
Yes.
see you, Dave. Glad to
Yes.
see you, Davey.
Yes. And he says, I'm late, 8-4. What? I'm sorry, Dave. I am sorry, but we have to keep it real here. We have to keep it real. Like, I try to be unbiased as possible. And Steven says, I can't wait to y'all do the Big Ten. I will have my receipt. Okay. Real fast. Spoiler alert, Steven. I have Ohio State only losing 2 games this year. Spoiler alert. But and once we talk about that, which we might have 2 special guests for that, wink wink, we'll talk about that. But looking at SMU schedule, it's not that bad. That they didn't get stuck with it like some of the other teams did. Okay, and then since Dave talked about my 8-4 for Louisville, let's look at the card schedule, and I'll break it down just a little bit for you guys. And I try to be unbiased when I do this. Now, obviously, Bird with T-shirt on, but obviously, I think we're going to win all 3 of our non-con games. JMU and Bowling Green may give us a bit of a show because those are not 2 pushover teams within their respective conferences. But we should win those games. We very well should. At Pitt could be tricky. At Miami, going to Miami, even though people make fun of their fans for not having any, at Miami is always a tough place to play. At Virginia Tech, I'm not looking forward to going to play there. At home versus Clemson, at SMU, and Kentucky, a rivalry game, anything can happen. And the way we get Clemson and SMU back to back, that's a tough draw. And then Kentucky and see, that's what I don't like. I don't like this. I don't know how Jackson. How do you feel when they do this to Bama? When they give you your rival and then they give you 2 of your toughest conference opponents back to back weeks? How do you feel about that?
Start with me.
And Steven says Eddie George at Bowling Green with a big upset against. That's what I said. Bowling Green's not as big a pushover as people think. I think we should win that game, but I would not be surprised if that's a dogfight. And I'm being completely honest with you, trying to be unbiased. That could be one of them 27-20 type eke it out. Well, yeah, Bama gets to eat their cupcake before. Yeah, I forget the SEC gets to eat their dessert before for their actual dinner. I forget. I'm sorry, Troy. The children run the asylum there. I I know, right? I know. But to Steven's point, though, that could be one of them ekers or Louisville wins it on a last second field goal, and then it'll be one of them overreactions of the ACC is terrible, yada yada yada, which it can happen to a lot of teams. I mean, and we'll talk about it once we get into the other conference games as well. Mississippi State, they play Northern Illinois, that which we'll talk about when we get to the SEC. But as far as this goes, I see 8-4. I don't see where we make it out with no less than 4. I would really like to say 9-3. I would, but add Virginia Tech, and then you've got Clemson, SMU. Even though Kentucky, as much as I pick on DeReal, Kentucky's always a threat to beat Louisville, always, because it's a rivalry game. Crazy thing happen. You can have a kick six, you can have a block punt, or you can have back-to-back pick sixes for something. Always crazy can happen in a rivalry game, and it flips the game on its head like that before you know it. And so, to me, 8-4 seemed right. It seemed to fit the bill, so to speak. Now, looking at Miami, since Traveling Fools is here, let's talk about the U. And Jackson, before we end the night, Jackson can give Miami the people's elbow if he wants. So I have Miami 7-5. Jackson has them 8-4. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about old Miami.
I did think about like getting Miami at 9-3, honestly. Where I flipped a coin between Miami and Florida, and I was like, okay, I'll pick Florida on this one. But we've got the rest.
Hold on, Jack. He says Stoops going out with a win. LOL. Not listen, Dave. I'm not. Listen, I have us winning that game right now, but I'm just saying the possibilities there. Lord have mercy. If we lose to Kentucky, I may have a venting session on here, and Jackson may have to kick me off the airwaves when I'm done with that. So, for all that is holy, please don't let us lose at football. That's one sport we can count on. But, anywho, go ahead, Jack.
Well, Miami is that one team that wins games they shouldn't and loses games they shouldn't all the time. And I feel like they could be 9-3 this year, but I went with 8-4 for now. That's why I've got them. And I feel like Pitt's gonna kill their dreams and go into the ACC title. And when you have to go to Virginia Tech in late November, that's scary right there. And honestly, I had them like I kind of flipped between having them either win against Virginia Tech or Pitt, or am I just gonna have them lose to both of them? That's what I felt like they're gonna do.
Jackson, I want to say this real fast. You didn't say your catchphrase, but what is Pitt known for? Where dreams go to?
Die.
Yeah.
Dreams always go to die at Pitt. I mean, we're going to talk about, and what's going to happen is you're going to have Miami Pitt at the same time as either Michigan, Ohio State, or Alabama, Auburn. What's going to happen is Pitt's going to kill their dreams of going to the ACC title game.
And listen, Jackson, the ACC schedule makers did not do them any favors. Look at that. At Virginia Tech and at Pitt.
That's hell. That is hell.
Like the schedule makers, like I know I'm fussing about Louisville. I would want Miami's last two games. Like to go at Pitt and at Virginia Tech? No. I'll take my chances with Clemson and SMU and Kentucky at home. I'll take my chances with that.
Why do I have a feeling they're gonna blow it against Syracuse somehow? Like, why is Syracuse? Why am I getting that weird feeling that Syracuse is like their new Georgia Tech? Like, I don't know why, but that kind of scares me.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, Jackson. Here's what I could see. Let's say they beat Louisville, Jackson, right? I'm just saying this. I could see a world where they lose to Stanford. They could have one of our moments. Coming off a big win, and they blow it to Stanford. Now, I know Fools is here, Traveling Fools, that is. He's probably shaking his head at me, but it's a very possibility. And look at this, Jackson. They go at Florida State, tough rivalry game, and then they get Louisville at home on a short week Friday night. That's not an easy task to ask of. But then at SMU, that's like Miami. Legitimately, I see 7-5, and I mean that with all due respect. Like Jackson, even South Florida is not a gimme. Like, cause South Florida, nobody's losing to the. Well, Louisville did last year, so I can't really speak. But and ask any Pac-12 fan, they will tell you. They will tell you the tree is very dangerous to play. Just ask Oregon. So, but South Florida gave Alabama a heck of a game a couple years ago. Like,
Oh yeah,
and Jackson will even tell you that game was ugly because Jackson had to watch it, and he wasn't even planning on it. Ruined his Saturday. That's why Jackson's the way he is now. Like, that's why he's always mad because Bama let him down that day. He can't trust nobody.
I'm all right.
I don't hate anybody, Steven. Listen, hate is a very strong word. I don't hate nothing. I don't dislike nothing.
Relax.
Listen, Jack. Let me take. Listen, I like Steven. He's a good Buckeye, but I don't mind Florida. Now Miami, they can buzz off. Like I like Miami for Fools and company, but other than that, they're obnoxious. They can go away. Florida, I don't mind. I don't mind, but anywho, Jackson, take it away on the schedule here.
But yeah, like Miami, I will say though, I do wish Miami and Florida would play each other annually again. I mean, I know it was like before mine and Austin's lifetime that they played each other annually, but still though, I just like to know who's the best Florida school out of Miami, Florida, and Florida State. You know, when all three of the schools are playing each other every year. I don't really like Florida State Miami being in October, but I mean, what does make it better is it's on my birth week. So I mean, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I will.
yeah.
I will say though, real fast, Jackson. I mean, want to look at this. So Syracuse has been a topic of discussion, right? Let's talk about them real quick. Let me pull up Syracuse's schedule real fast here, since everyone's talking about Syracuse. Let's talk about them for a second here. Let's talk about these Orange men. Okay, they play Tennessee week 1. We all know that in Atlanta. Now, this game against Tennessee, like, not to spoil any SEC predictions, but what do you think of that game opening weekend, Jack?
I hate to say it, but they're gonna beat the hell out of Syracuse.
And then, of course, UConn and Colgate. I mean, they should
They're
win those
losing to
games. I mean,
Clemson. They're
and then you
beating
got
Duke.
at Clemson.
They're losing to Clemson. They're beating Duke. I've got them losing to SMU. They're beating Pitt and Georgia Tech, I believe. I've got them beating North Carolina, but I've got them losing to Miami, Notre Dame, and they're beating Boston College.
Looking at this, Jackson, that's not actually that bad of a draw.
Well, one thing to remember is
there's some games in there I could see them.
One thing to remember is Syracuse will have a 7-win season, but they're not going to be playing like it. They're playing more like a 9-10 win team. That's going to be like that as long as they got Fran Brown.
Troy, don't lose the toothpaste. Oh
I've
my
got
god!
Georgia
But
Tech beating
yeah,
Colorado in week 1 on Friday night, Clint Moses. I've got Georgia Tech losing to Syracuse, and I've got them losing to Georgia.
so I got Colorado winning. I think Coach Prime and company win against Georgia Tech. I'm not buying the Georgia Tech hype. I'm not on the hype train. But this is what makes this fun, though. Me and Jackson, we have difference of opinions, and I mean, neither one of us are wrong at the moment. We just disagree. Now, once the season starts and we have solid evidence to back this up, then one of us will more than likely be wrong. But this is just our opinions completely. And thing about it too is I'll say this too. We've got 2 more conferences. We've got the Big Ten and SEC. We've got the big dogs, and I know there's going to be a lot of disagreements on those. Which that's what we're here for. We're here to discuss them, talk about them, cry about them if we need to. I mean, because look at Jackson. He's that shoulder you can cry on. Just look at it. And Clint Moses' expert opinion. I'm not an expert. Jackson is. Jackson, he's good buddies with Paul Feinbaum. Like him and Paul Feinbaum are tight. They go to dinner together.
I call them the Feinbaum shows, but I wouldn't exactly say we're like BFFs. But I mean that day will come, I'm sure.
Yes, but this was our ACC predictions. And obviously we put Notre Dame in as an honorary member. I mean,
and they're ACC members in other sports, so there's that.
Yes, and one last time before we skedaddle, let me put this back up here. Here's mine and Jackson's predictions for the ACC. And you can let us know in the chat too which ones you could see more happening. If you see Jackson's predictions happening more than mine, or vice versa, let us know. Like, let us know which ones you think are more of a possibility, or let us, or if you have a team that maybe we overlooked, let us know, and we'll talk about it here. I mean, overall, Jackson, looking at both of these, just off what we know right now, I think we did pretty good. I don't think we made any egregious errors, would you say?
Nah, we're all right. We're all right.
Steven says, yikes. Well, listen, Steven, anything that ain't Ohio State, you would say yikes to. But anywho. And Clint Moses says, as a Pac-Man, looking back, Stanford was a better version of Utah at their peak. Oh, you telling me. Which Miami win total is at least the combined wins of both of your predictions. Okay, listen here, fools. Traveling fools. With all due respect, Miami is not going 16-0 and going to win the whole thing. I understand you love Miami, and I appreciate the confidence. But Mr. Traveling Fools, let's be reasonable about this, please. Jackson, talk some sense into Fool here for me. Like, he'll listen to you. Like, help me out here. Help a brother out.
I'm not too worried. It's preseason. That's what it's there for. We make our predictions and all that.
And Steven says, North Carolina, come on. I mean, me and Jackson are both high on them. Me and Jackson both have them going 9-3.
Their schedule is dog craps. That's why they've got 9 wins.
Listen, Drew, I don't think very much when I start ranting. It would be 20-0, right? Yeah. Yeah, 20-0. 20-0. But anywho, the matter of fact is Miami's not going undefeated and win the national championship. Okay? We all know it's going to be Alabama. And Jackson, he's too bashful to tell you, but it's going to be Bama. They're going to win every game, and Jackson's going to be there front row. Okay, 17.
Yeah.
I will get it right eventually.
Well, yeah.
Real quick, Jackson, what do you think about this before we go?
Not too crazy about it, to tell you the truth.
I, I mean, it's interesting. What?
It means they're away from their rivals, North Carolina State, Duke, and Wake Forest, and Virginia. So it's like, I mean, I'm like an old man in a young man's body, where I'm just like, an old tradition's going away, which that's what I'm worried about, honestly.
I'm just kind of curious. What sparked this conversation?
Well, they are the flagship school of the state of North Carolina. They bring in a lot of revenue because, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they haven't won the ACC since 1980. But still, when you think of the school in the state of North Carolina, you're thinking of North Carolina and Chapel Hill. Unfortunately, you're not thinking about North Carolina State, Duke, or Wake Forest. You're thinking about North Carolina.
And I would echo that sentiment. And Troy V says, "This is sane, Austin. Once he breaks out the sunglasses, that's when the fun starts." Listen, Troy. I only do that for Colorado and Deion Sanders because that's my guy. That's my home dog. I I try to keep it sane here for Jackson because look at poor Jackson. I mean, if I do that to him every time, poor Jackson. Yeah, I couldn't do that to him. That face. Said never go to dinner with Feinbaum and he never picks up the check. And Troy,
He'll
not
probably
Troy.
he'll probably make Jim from Tuscaloosa pick up the chat though. That's probably why he rants and raves so much at Paul.
Jackson, you got you another traditionalist. Holy moly, says I'm with you. Jackson, traditions mean something. Something.
Agreed. I mean, it's like I hate to see. I don't want to see like North Carolina leave the ACC. I don't want to see the top schools leaving, but I feel like that day is coming, and we kind of have to prepare ourselves for it, good, bad, or
Listen,
ugly.
listen. If there is something that's going to get me upset, it's that. Like, listen, I know this is football, but if North Carolina goes to the SEC and ruins one of the greatest basketball rivalries in history, for their own selfish gain, I will never forgive you, North Carolina. You will not let Duke Carolina go away. That is one of the greatest rivalries in sports today. You're not going to let that go away. It's not going to happen. So, North Carolina, you keep your butt where it belongs, okay? And you're going to play Duke twice a year, maybe even 3 times, maybe even 4, because that game means something. That game, by golly, is my childhood. I grew up watching that game besides Louisville, Kentucky. And we're not going to ruin it for your own selfish needs, okay? Just because the SEC can offer you money does not mean you should do it, okay? Not everything's about money, dang it. Anywho,
There you go.
and
I mean,
holy
like
moly,
North Carolina would still play Duke. Don't get me wrong. Like on college basketball, of course, because I mean, there's too much money involved in it, But like North Carolina Duke, there's not enough money involved in football. What does that mean for like North Carolina and North Carolina State? What does it mean for like North Carolina Wake Forest and North Carolina Virginia? Uh, I think if we're ever seeing North Carolina leave for the Big Ten or the SEC, like we'll definitely like if there's like more headlines on that, and I don't think it'll be like this year. I don't think it'll be like next year, but I think like the time to watch for that is like the late 2020s, like 2028, 2029, early 2030s.
mm-hmm.
That is when you're going to hear something. And I know like Troy V makes a point when he said tradition died once the Pac 12 dissolved. I'll go back further and say like when the Southwest Conference died, honestly, in the 90s. And,
Mm-hmm.
when, you know, Penn State got left out of the Big East in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So they were kind of like, which that kind of, and like the Supreme Court ruling in 1984 for the world of college football. It was like it meant they meant well at the time, but I don't think they really saw something like this happening, like where it was the Board of Regents, Oklahoma, where it's like, oh well, we're good to go, we're this or that. It's like, yeah,
And,
it's
and
gonna be interesting.
and to Hummus's point, he says UNC could still play Duke if they leave the conference. Though I get that, Hummus, and I understand, but it's just like Jackson's mentioning the tradition, knowing you've got 2 Duke Carolina games to look forward to. You ask any fan of a big traditional rival, what is the first game you always circle? It's your rival game. Like Jackson, he can say this for football. Jackson, what's the first game you circle when you look at Bama's schedule? It's Auburn.
Alabama, Auburn.
Or exactly. Kind of like with me. First game I look at is Louisville, Kentucky. When are we playing them? Especially in basketball. I love it. And it's just like Carolina and Duke fans, especially if we had one here in Jeffrey at the moment, he would even tell you the first game both of those teams look at on their schedules, when do we play Carolina or when do we play Duke? And when do we play them? And he says UNC ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Grants and rights is B. That is true, right, Jackson? You can't just walk up and leave that. Okay. So this
No,
is
you,
all.
you can't like walk up and leave it. You have to have enough money to buy out your contract.
So this is all just a smoke screen.
I think that's part of it, and I think a lot of it is a lot of people need something to talk about during the summer,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and the heat makes people go crazy. And,
Mm-hmm.
agree. Cincinnati, love that game. Love watching them play.
I wish they'd
I,
bring it back.
I do one better. I want to see Ohio State play Cincinnati at Xavier and Dayton every year in college basketball, but I know that's not happening. Yes. The buyout goes down every year. So that is something to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so
Real fast, Jack. Real fast. As Holy Moly makes a comment here, I was raised by the ACC by my grandfather. You support all of them, the original ACC, but have a favorite. Exactly. I was too. Like, I grew up in a Kentucky household. And, my parents and everything, they grew up Kentucky fans. But eventually, when I met my extended family, they brought me into the ACC household of it. And I got me Louisville posters, hats, shirts for Christmas, and I fell in love with them ever since. I couldn't see myself being anything but a Louisville fan. I would never change that. And Darrell says realignment channels are the worst channels.
oh god.
Oh gosh, me and
I,
Jackson.
I get I get so sick of hearing about realignment, honestly, where it's just like, but I know it's like sometimes it's like a topic we have to talk about where it's like you don't necessarily want to talk about it, but you have to. If there's like breaking news, you got to get on that as soon as possible. You have to
Mm-hmm.
get on that as soon as possible because if you don't, it's going to chew you up like a chicken nugget.
Mm-hmm. And Holy Moly says, "Yep, it's way more than a team or a game. Yes, you live for it. I know it's kind of corny to say, and it just means more in ACC country. If you live in ACC country, it just means more to watch a Duke Carolina or for you know how much you have to love the ACC. I enjoy watching a Virginia game on a Monday night. You know how much of a sicko I am for that. And listen, Jackson's smiling, and he knows it too. He knows it too. And So said, hey, I can't say that. I apologize. He says, "Go Tigers." Tigers. 100. Yes, exactly. I watch Virginia religiously. I watch them religiously. And you know what else I watch religiously? If I can get my words out tonight, Is there Jackson's smiling
Take
like
20.
Anywho, you know what I watch right? You know what I watch all the time? We're just going to use that word now. It's a great show, even though it's not an ACC show. I know for our ACC people, I know you may say, "Why do I want to watch Alabama?" Well, let me give you a couple reasons why, and then Jackson will bring it home. Jackson's like the closing pitcher. Like I get the game started, and Jackson will close it. He's our closer.
I'm your Mariano Rivera.
Yes, exactly. Good analogy. But here's why you want to watch Alabama. I know as ACC people, it's kind of hard to watch the SEC people. I know. I'm with you. But Jackson is one of the very few people that you can listen to talk about the SEC and be okay with it. Him, Jeffrey, and Johnny Burks every Monday night and Thursday nights on the call-in, and Tuesday nights with Coach Smook Hines, and Manny Wilson as well on Primetime Live. Those guys are very good people. I promise you, you go watch these gentlemen, you will be happy. They tell you how it is, and yes, there is a little homerism like there is with everything, but you will fall in love with this channel. That Alabama will become your home away from home team. And let me tell you a quick story. I used to despise Alabama more than you could realize, but because I met Jackson, I've kind of grown to tolerate them. I even found myself rooting for him last year against Georgia, believe it or not, for Jackson's sake. That's how much I've changed on him. I've kind of grown a soft spot because of Jackson. But Jackson, this is the part where you take it home and close it, good buddy. Do your thing.
There we go. Steve says he tunes in for Jeffrey's rants. Well, all I can say is don't make him rant because then I have to stay up with him when he's doing. It's like don't make him rant. Like come on, like easy on him. Anyway, but yeah,
Holy
man.
Moses, I give Alabama a pass. I like them. Okay, Jackson, you're winning them over. You're winning them over. Okay, go ahead. My bad. My bad.
But yeah, like today's edition of Crimson Tide Live, it was pretty cool because we had an early preview of Missouri Vandy. We talked a little bit about why Jam Miller returned to Alabama for 2025. We gave our take on Nick Saban addressing the coaching rumors on Fox and Friends. And of course, we did talk a little bit about like which podcast we'd like to see Nick Saban go on, like which show we'd like to see him go on. Like personally, I want to see how he'll handle like going on with Bill Maher. Like, just like hearing like Bill Maher talk about, I'm not married and I don't have kids, and Nick Saban like having to deal with somebody blowing all that smoke. Like, I don't think Nick Saban will like that, but he'll kind of keep it calm since he's not coaching. But he'll be like, I am so fired my agent for this show. But in all seriousness, the most important thing we really talked about was what are we expecting from fall camp? That's what we're expecting. Like, we got to look at it all. The quarterback situation, the defense, our offensive line, our punting situation even. We looked at it all right there on Alabama, the voice of college football. And of course, you're going to see, and I believe I'm subbing in for Coach Smoot tomorrow night. Well, Tuesday night, tonight, I guess, for Crimson Tide Live, but no worries. He'll be back with Coach Smoot and Manny Wilson. All right there on Alabama, the voice of college football. And Jeffrey and I take your calls on the Crimson Tide, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, as we take y'all for a wild ride, all right there on Alabama Voice College Football. And, of course, I've got my latest episode of The Jacksonian with Christian Rowe from Locked On Kansas State. That was a fun episode. And we had so much takes on the Kansas State Wildcats. We talked a little bit about the NFL even. So it was a lot of fun. And if you want more updates on what I've got going on, the Jacksonian or Alabama with the Voice of College Football, check me out on JacksVOCFB on @/Twitter. And you can also check out my weekly calls on the Paul Feinbaum Show where the weekend's full of surprise. Although I'm not called on there in the month of July because had some different situations throughout this month. But I guarantee you, I will be back to calling the Fine Ball Show. No worries. And you can check out what I've got to say on Jackson Johnson 543908 on Instagram and Threads. I will change the username on Instagram and Threads. I promise you that. So this way, I'll make it easier for all of you. For sure. So tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at pubs about the magic that I've got creating right here on Jackson Johnson 979, where I've got magic with Austin Williams from Sports Talk with Austin, Will and D, my pals, Only Talk Sports, and of course, the magic that I've got on Alabama with the Voice of College Football. And you can check me out on @/Twitter and Instagram and Threads, all right there. Austin, what magic are you cooking up in your world?
So I've got a lot of different magic cooking, and there's the links to both of our channels, our personal channels down there, and we'll put in the Alabama channels and everything as well. If you would like to give us a subscribe, a like, and a follow, it'd be greatly appreciated. It lets us know we're doing a good job and we're bringing content to you. So we got schedule updates for you and schedule previews coming up. So stay tuned because this is going to be a long one. So coming up next is the Big Ten preview. And we plan on having that sometime Wednesday because we will have possibly 2 special guests on with us to help preview that and talk about everything Big Ten. And we will do SEC predictions on Friday night, about a little earlier, about 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 Pacific. And then we will have our top 25 reaction show in a couple weeks as well. Well, when that comes out as well, we'll give our reactions, and we might even let y'all call in when that happens. And we will also be doing sometime either here pretty soon, if y'all would like to see it, which let us know in the comment section as well. Best group of 4 / group of 5 team, whatever you prefer to call it. Me and Jackson will compile a list of 5 or 10 teams that we think could be surprisers, could be teams that could shock you, teams that we think will be good to great. And we'll kind of talk about it, and we might even do a call-in for that. But that's what we've got going on this week. So we've got 2 more predictions, top 25 reaction show, on a possible group of 4, group of 5, best teams list. We'll think of a better name as we come up with it. Anything else y'all would like us to do. But we're getting close, y'all. Today's July 29th. We're getting there. And you know what that means, right? Final whistle and picks and analysis will be back before you know it. And me and Jackson, we will be seeing you every Wednesdays and Saturdays. And you'll be asking to get rid of us. You'll be like, please, Grandma, take them. Make them go cut the grass or something. But we will be here bringing you great, great content. So, with that being said, though, oh no, real fast, Jackson, what did you do?
He was talking with Dave Brown.
Oh, okay.
About
My bad.
a certain.
Okay. My bad. See, this is why I don't pay attention sometimes. You'll have to pardon me. Anywho, I apologize. But anywho, that's what we've got going on this week. So stay tuned for all that. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you all Wednesday for the Big Ten predictions. But until then, go Cards.
That